are glad you're tuned in to Kutv News at 9 on the 12th of June 2020. We have a lot lined up for you tonight, from matters politics to COVID-19 infections, on what is happening in the country, across the continent and the world. In Kenya, we'll be telling you on what is happening, on what Kenyans are saying concerning the budget. Illicit reactions have emerged concerning the budget that was presented yesterday by Treasury CS Ukuru Yatani. Kenyans claiming that they will have to dig deeper into their pockets to fund the 2.73 trillion budget. Also on matters politics, we'll be telling you on what will happen to Governor Mwangi, who was impeached in Kirinyaga County on Tuesday. He's set to face the Senate next week on Tuesday, whereby he will present his case and defend herself concerning the allegations against her. But before we get right into it, let's take a look at stories making headlines tonight. Virus cases hit 3,305 as 4 more people die. Embattled Governor Mwangi to face the Senate next week. Treasury CS Yatani's budget elicit mixed reaction. Law Society of Kenya want Attorney General Paul Kihara to resign. Welcome to our live broadcast. My name is Irene Mwangi, and with me tonight is Moses Gitonga, who is our sign language interpreter. To our top story, the number of coronavirus infections now stands at 3,305 after 90 new cases were recorded in the last 24 hours. Nairobi is still leading, followed by Mombasa County. The border point is still a headache, even as the Ministry of Health urges Kenyans to continue adhering to the set measures.
The Ministry of Health has continued to appeal to Kenyans to continue adhering to COVID-19 containment measures, even as the number of infections keep on soaring.
As we have said repeatedly, to beat coronavirus or COVID-19 disease, we need to be able to contain it. In the containment measures of hand washing, social and physical distancing, wearing masks, avoiding large gatherings, staying at home when you can, and minimizing any situation where you will be interacting with others. Those are the key measures that need to be observed in order to break the cycle of spread of this virus.
In the last 24 hours, the ministry recorded 90 new cases, bringing the total tally to 3,305. The results are from 2,419 samples that were tested. The Ministry of Health also announced 4 fatalities.
We have also lost 4 people from the disease, which now brings the total number of people who have succumbed to this disease to date to 96.
72 people were sent home after making full recovery from the disease.
This is good news. I think every time we see good numbers of recoveries, it's good news for us because it shows the balance between those that we are confirming positive and those that we are discharging.
In terms of distribution in the counties, Nairobi leads with 36 cases, followed by Mombasa with 34, Busia with 12, Uasin Gishu with 3, while Garissa, Kisumu, Meru and Turkana counties recorded 1 case each.
Moving on, the government has today commenced a blood donation campaign as the country prepares for the World Blood Donor Day to be commemorated on Sunday, June 14th, 2020. The situation of the country's blood bank is challenging and a concern for the Health Ministry, who is on a campaign to restock the blood bank in the country. Speaking today at KCC, Ministry of Health CAS Dr. Rashid Aman said prior to COVID-19 situation, the Kenya National Blood Transfusion Service used to collect about 450 pins of blood every day.
And you all are very well aware that we have faced challenges as far as our national blood transfusion services is concerned. Challenges that as a ministry we are diligently addressing in order to improve service delivery in this sector. Recognizing the need for additional investments in this sector, the government has initiated a number of programs to be able to build up the capacity of the Kenya National Blood Transfusion Services. We have increased the number of human resources within this facility by posting an additional 22 members of staff to the Kenya National Blood Transfusion Services. We have also arranged for additional resourcing of this facility, and we will be pumping in about 1 billion Kenya shillings through a World Bank program in the coming months to upgrade and improve the level of services, the level of blood collection within all the satellite sites and sites that collect blood under the Kenya National Blood Transfusion Services throughout the country, to ensure that we have enough commodities that are required for blood collection, that is the blood bags, and everything else that is required for that supply chain, and also to ensure that we have the right equipment and reagents that are required in the lab to ensure that the blood we collect is properly handled, processed, and is safe for transfusion to patients.
Law Society of Kenya now wants Attorney General Kihara Kariuki to resign over delayed appointment of 41 judges approved by the Judicial Service Commission. Southeastern Law Society of Kenya branch chairman Justice Mutia said Attorney General and other commissioners representing the President in the commission ought to have raised purported integrity issues on some of the nominees. Attorney General, while defending the President from Chief Justice David Maraga's outburst, said their appointments were as a result of integrity queries touching on some of the nominees. Let us now focus on the budget 2020-2021. Just a day after Finance CS Ukur Yatani read the national budget for the financial year 2020-2021, many Kenyans have aired their concern concerning the budgetary allocation touching directly on the common mwananchi. Some say that the increased prices of commodities will gravely affect the low-income earners in the society.
Continue to come to terms with the hard economic times questioned by the coronavirus pandemic, many foresee a future still filled with challenges brought by the rise in price of essential commodities such as foodstuffs and other household items. According to the budget for financial year 2020-2021, the Ministry of Finance proposed an increase in tax for some household items such as cooking gas. The 2.7 trillion budget read by Finance CS Ukur Yatani elicited mixed reactions among slum dwellers. According to them, the government should consider those who have been worst hit by the global coronavirus pandemic. During our spot check at Mukuru kwa Ruben Informal Settlement in Nairobi, we come across Mama Nerea Atieno, a bajia vendor, who says the government has not given her a reason to smile following some of the proposal in the 2020 budget.
budget ilisoma.
Nerea says that the coronavirus pandemic has affected her business, given that most people in the area lack money even to get bajias from her small establishment, and this is bad for the economy.
Sisi watufanyie favor, watugawie hata sisi. Kama mimi nauza bajia, hii bajia hata ina pesa mingi. Unaweza uza, ununue ndoo, hii tunanunua 450. Hiyo 450, kitambo ukate hiyo viazi, itoe hiyo pesa. Unajua umekaa sana. Kuni, mafuta unanunua, kila kitu unanunua. Na yezi toa, yezi. Ukiuza pesa mingi umeuza 700. Unajua hapo umepotea sana.
Her appeal to the government is that there should be transparency in allocation of funds meant for small businesses announced by CS Yatani, so that everyone can benefit one way or another, especially people living in deplorable conditions.
Kusema, wateremushe vitu chini kiasi. Juu sisi kama wananchi tunaumia. Unanunua unga 150. Kama una hiyo 150, uwezi nunua unga. Hakuna kitu unaweza nunua na hiyo pesa.
A few meters away from Mama Nerea's place, we meet Kevin Odongo, a youth leader in Kwaruben area, who says that the economic stimulus package has the potential to kickstart the economy and giving the common mwananchi a sigh of relief after the coronavirus pandemic has destabilized their livelihoods.
Well, budget ilisomwa jana, ambapo budget nimeona ni mzuri, imeangazia common mwananchi. Juu nimeona kuna package wamewekea corona prevention measures, ambapo ni mzuri. So sisi tunaomba venye walisoma jana kwa budget, wacha tuteremuke tu chini tu hivyo. Yep.
All eyes are now set to see how the 2.7 trillion budget for financial year 2020-2021 will breathe life to the suffering Kenyan economy. Samson Jura, Kutv.
Let us now shift gears to matters politics, where the Senate House Business Committee has recommended the formation of an 11-member special committee to substantiate the alleged allegation leveled against Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru during the impeachment proceedings by members of the Kirinyaga County Assembly. Majority Whip Irene Kangata said the Senate will hold a special sitting on Monday to decide procedure on how to hear Waiguru's case on Tuesday.
Tandambiri, Deputy Governor, Kirinyaga County.
Embattled Governor Anne Waiguru will face the Senate next week to defend herself of allegation of gross misconduct and abuse of office. What, however, is not yet clear is whether his case will be heard by a special committee or by the all 67 senators. The Senate Business Committee has recommended an 11-member committee to investigate charges leveled against the impeached Kirinyaga governor. Majority Chief Whip Irene Kangata said the proposal is subject to approval by the plenary on Tuesday. Kirinyaga County Women Representative Wangui Ngereshe, however, pushes for the whole House to listen to Waiguru's case, citing room for corruption.
Watu wa Kirinyaga wananituma na wanasema wasikizwe vizuri kwamba hiyo kesi ya governor wa Kirinyaga about misappropriation of funds of Kirinyaga County isifanywe na watu ambao ni watu 11 select committee ambao watapewa milioni 1 ama 2, alafu kutoka hapo pesa ya Kirinyaga ipotee na ukweli na haki ya Kirinyaga ipotee. Tunataka ifanywe na 67 senators in the Senate.
Governor Waiguru is a key proponent of the BBI process, sources claiming that President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga might pull the strings in the Senate to save the impeached governor. Away from that, the flag of the East African Community and the flag of the Republic of Kenya shall be flown at half-mast at all public buildings and public grounds from dawn on Saturday, 13th of June 2020 until sunset in honor of the late President Pierre Nkurunziza. This is according to a presidential proclamation issued on Friday by State House. President Nkurunziza passed away 3 days ago after suffering a heart attack. Leadership wrangles bedeviling the Ford Kenya party will now be solved internally. This is after embattled Moses Wetangula withdrew his case against party Secretary General Eseli Simeo. Wetangula, who was accompanied by lawyer Nelson Harvey, appealed before the political party's dispute tribunal on Friday morning. The senator moved to the tribunal on June 10th after the National Executive Council removed him as the party leader on May 31st and replaced him with Kendui Member of Parliament Wafula Munyenye. Wetangula then had a parallel meeting in which he removed Simeo as the Secretary General and replaced him with Kiminini Member of Parliament Chris Somalwa. Away from that, nominated Member of Parliament Godfrey Osotsi now says that his life is in danger, claiming that there are people out to harm him. He claims that he has been receiving death threats from unknown individuals close to Musalia Mudavadi. This comes days after he made sentiments that Musalia Mudavadi's term as ANC party leader expires next Monday on June 15th. Osotsi had demanded that the party conduct grassroots polls to elect new officials. Osotsi, who claims to be the founder of the Amani National Congress Party, said the party constitution provides that leaders hold office for 5 years, after which an election should be done.
Why I'm here is because I have received death threats from known individuals close to Honorable Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi. One of them is an MCA in Vihiga County, and two are individuals who are persons of close proximity to him. And I said I must be concerned because my life is in danger.
Aside from politics, let's now look at our word of the day tonight, which is the word nullify. It is meant to make a legal agreement or decision to have no legal force. Example in a sentence, the High Court has declined to nullify the impeachment of Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. All right, on the other side of the break, we'll be having an interview with Faith Wanjiro, who is a program associate in Akili Dada, who will be talking about cyberbullying, which now is rampant, especially this time where we are battling COVID-19 and most Kenyans are using the internet. You don't want to miss that discussion. See you on the other side of the break.
Kuchanganya na nini?
Unaanza kuchanganya chumvi, mafuta na vile vipande, sio? Nachanganya na zile mboga sasa kabisa. Muonekano uko shwari kabisa. Muonekano wake ni mzuri.
Una appear to be good, eh?
Yeah.
Very appetizing, eh?
Sasa kabisa.
APRT Sacco is financially transforming Africa. Be a shareholder by depositing as little as 100 shillings with us and get your share certificate when your deposits amount to 5,000 shillings. Your deposits earn 2% dividends per month, totaling to 24% dividends annually.
Also, I would like to inform you about our investment plan. You can buy shares from as minimum of 50,000 shillings, and each month you're going to get a 2% bonus in your account.
Dividends are payable from monthly basis. We invest in land, housing, and other properties. Join APRT Sacco through M-Pesa by sending money to till number 666741. APRT Sacco. Enjoy the power of many.
Welcome on board. We encourage you, walk with you, and pray with you as we share truth from God's Word. And because of the gospel of Jesus Christ, we consider how to stir up one another towards love and good works every Sunday morning.
7 to 10 a.m. tutakuwa tunakuletea mziki yenye ina uplift, ina inspire, ina kulead worship God. Mziki yenye imechambuliwa na imechaguliwa fiti just for you. And as you can see, we have a new home, a new experience.
Church of Luxury.
Bado ndo si uongoza Makueni County. Kusema ukam kwa sports ndo wenyewe.
We love them, they love us.
Kalombo on the beat. The youths.
Let's do this. Kama kawa kama tawa.
Bully man, kwenga boy.
Go one, find up. So kama takupenda kidogo. So kama takujali kidogo.
Itakuwa mwafaya.
So kind of me. So kind of me.
Back. Now, tonight we'll be focusing on cyberbullying and why it is rife in the country, especially during this time where we're having the COVID-19 pandemic. We're having Faith Wanjiru, who is a program associate in Akili Dada, a non-governmental organization. Welcome, Faith.
Thank you very much, Irene, for having me.
All right. Now, looking at cyberbullying, a lot of Kenyans do not even understand what cyberbullying is. It is a new term to some. Perhaps if you could explain what cyberbullying is in the country.
All right. So cyberbullying is basically any form of bullying that is done on digital spaces or digital devices, such as cell phones, computers, and even tablets. So it includes sending, posting, and even sharing negative, harmful, false, and mean content about somebody else. It also includes sharing personal or private information of somebody else, causing them embarrassment or even humiliation. And it is sharing of this information without their consent. And sometimes it crosses the line even into unlawful and criminal behavior.
All right. Looking at what has been happening in the country in the recent past and even recently, we have seen some cases of cyberbullying, but for some, they really do not understand, especially during this time of the pandemic. Perhaps what has led to an increase of cases of cyberbullying that you have witnessed during this particular time?
Okay, so I believe that cyberbullying increases with an increased amount of time spent online. So the more time that people are spending online, then the more it's going to directly correspond to a rise in cyberbullying. So especially during this pandemic, a lot of people are spending time online. They're creating content because then they're idle, they're bored. So they've taken to social media, to TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and they're creating content and sharing that content with people. And I believe that the more content that you share out there with other people, then you're prone to cyberbullying. So the more content there is and the more time you spend online, then the more that cyberbullying is going to rise.
What are some of the emotional effects that come with cyberbullying? Because I think for some Kenyans, they have underestimated the effects of cyberbullying and seeing it as just some sort of a game. Are there serious emotional effects when it comes to cyberbullying?
First of all, I think especially in Kenya, and I think in Kenya, KOT is the biggest avenue for bullying, especially. So one thing that they actually target is for example, your body image. So how you look, what size you are. And I believe that this has a grave effect, especially on somebody's self-esteem. And it could even lead to depression. It could lead to a lot of, anger within a person. And also the fact that they focus so much on body image, then you find people going into extreme measures, just trying to fit in or just trying to fit this ideal kind of body that people will accept online. Which really, if we think about it, is not really, there's no perfect shape or perfect body image to have. Yeah. And in some cases, it led to people inflicting self-harm on themselves, and people even having suicidal thoughts or even violent thoughts. Yeah, because then it takes a toll on your mental health.
Yeah. All right. We have seen, you have talked about KOT, which is Kenyans on Twitter. And on Twitter, we see hashtag this and this, hashtag this and this. Do you think some of the hashtags that we are having on Twitter are some sort of cyberbullying in itself, even as Kenyans underestimate that it is a conversation in itself?
I believe it is because, as Kenyans, we believe that we do have the freedom of expression. And I think people are very confident to air their views and to give their opinions on Twitter or wherever, because they believe I do have the freedom of expression. And so sometimes they put the hashtags there and they create all these things, just knowing that I'm expressing myself. This is my opinion, but they don't know the weight that hashtag might carry. Yeah, so I believe it is highly underestimated, sorry.
All right. Now, from where you sit and being a program associate in Akili Dada, focusing on the issue of feminism and all issues that surround cyberbullying, do you think there is a legal framework in the country to deal with these cases of cyberbullying, or still there might be a gap when it comes to handling cyberbullying in the country?
For example, in what context is one punishable for the 10 years, for 2 years, for 3 years? They don't clearly stipulate that. And then finally, I believe if you were to jail somebody for 10 years for cyberbullying, then we'd have people protesting because they believe it's the freedom of expression. So I also believe that these punishments that are in the act have a chilling effect on the rights and the freedoms to expression for people. Yeah. So I do think that there are gaps that need to be addressed, especially in these laws. But yeah, it is a crime to actually bully somebody online. And most people are not aware that these laws exist. So they're very confident and they hide behind their online personas and go to the social media platforms and, they bully people because they're largely unaware that these laws exist.
Mm-hmm. Wanjiru, perhaps have we seen a proactive approach to sort of fill these gaps when it comes to the laws that are there and to, of course, inhibit the cyberbullying? Because as it is, Kenyans are embracing the digital era, and that means there will be a season of cyberbullying, cyber harassment, but given that the laws, there have been some gaps, have we seen organization coming up? Have we seen members of parliament coming up to sort of fill those gaps?
So I believe that is lacking, and that is why today I'd like to, create a call to action that we actually need to do something about these gaps that exist in these laws, because especially in a world where we're all going digital, it is important to protect people. It is important to protect, young people, young women, young men who have serious mental issues because of what is going on online. So there is a gap, and that's why I'm calling out to, even us as citizens, to shed a light on the gaps that exist, and for those concerned or the parliament itself to actually look at the gaps and address them.
All right. Wanjiru, in Akili Dada and being a program associate there, of course, having the program on feminism, perhaps what are some of the steps that you have taken to help in reducing the cases of cyberbullying and create awareness among women and men in general into what is happening in terms of cyber harassment?
So at Akili Dada, mostly we work with girls and young women. And from a very young age, because sometimes we work with girls in high school, and we do teach them about the digital space. We are very intentional about them having IT skills. And then that is coupled up with letting them know that there are things, people use the digital space in many ways, and you could bully people, and the internet never forgets. So you could do some things, and that is very permanent. You could release photos of people, or you could spread rumors about people, and you think that it's going to blow over, but the internet never forgets. And I think one beautiful thing about Akili Dada is that we promote sisterhood, and we live by sisterhood. And so we believe that you should not do to someone else what you wouldn't want done to you. So if you wouldn't want to have yourself trolled on social media or people spreading rumors about you, then you should be very mindful about your fellow, your sister, your brother, all these people around you. Then you should be very mindful about that.
All right. Now, given that you've talked about creating awareness, in the country, do you think much awareness has been done? We have seen cases whereby during the first case of COVID-19, there was that girl called Brenda and Brian who came out, but Kenyans on Twitter sort of trolled them. We had the dancer who was called Aziad on TikTok. Yeah. Immediately the video went viral. Some of the Kenyans trolled her, and given that she was a young girl, and even Brian and Brenda, they're not really, they're really young, and even if they're old, they do not have to be subjected to cyberbullying. Perhaps do you think much awareness has been done when it comes to this sort of harassment?
I don't think so. I believe there is much more that can be done. And I think that we need to create awareness, and first of all, the existence of these laws, because people don't know that what they're doing is actually punishable by the law. Mm-hmm. And secondly, I think we need to promote the importance of having digital empathy, because there's things you wouldn't say to a person face to face, because then there's certain morals that have been instilled in you. But I think something that we need to totally talk about and openly talk about is digital empathy, because I feel like that is lacking. Mm-hmm. Because people will go to very extreme measures to troll you. And I don't think that's humane in the first place. So I think we really need to address cyberbullying. We need to talk about cyber harassment, and we need to, talk about digital empathy, having digital empathy. Yeah.
All right, finally, because you're pressed on time, what can be your final words when it comes to cyber harassment or cyberbullying and the march that we have come as a country, and given that we are embracing the digital era, what can be your final words, given that you're a person who has interacted with some of these cases?
So for me, would be to remind everybody that we should be mindful, especially of what we share online. We should be mindful of what content we share about others as well. Even posting a mean comment on social media, that is bullying. So just be mindful of people, and don't be so quick to put in mean comments on people's posts. Be aware that there are laws that you could be punished by, and be empathetic. Mm-hmm. As empathetic as you are, face to face and physically, be empathetic also on digital spaces.
That has been Faith Wanjiru, the program associate in Akili Dada, talking about cyberbullying or cyber harassment, as you may call it. She says even with existing laws, cyberbullying continues to be a problem in the country, and even with Kenyans knowing that it could lead to imprisonment, some continue to engage in cyber harassment. That has been his discussion, of course, giving us an insight. We are taking a short break, but once we return, we'll be returning with more on what is happening globally. Do stay with us.
I can also be inspired by anything around me, even a conversation. Okay. Yeah, as we speak right now, I'm having images in my mind. So I can design I can be inspired from anything.
Show me what you got. Show me what you got.
Tangu mwishoni mwa mwaka jana, homa ya virusi vya korona yaani COVID-19 imeibuka kuwa tishio kubwa la kiafya. Maambukizi ya homa hii yameenea ulimwenguni kote, wala hakuna aliye.
APRT Sacco is financially transforming Africa.
Good morning, Dr. Susu.
Morning to you.
My name is Mercy from CIC.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm very glad to be back.
Yes.
To present to you a policy contract from CIC.
Yes.
For covering your fire and burglary, and also your staff for weaver, medical, and over and above for covering your plans for group life, for covering all loans. Congratulations, and I'm happy to present to you the policy contract.
Are you a member of APRT Sacco who wants to buy a car, land, house, expand your business, or even pay school fees? Talk to us. To join APRT Sacco, buy shares for as little as 100 shillings and get your share certificate when your shares amount to 5,000 shillings. Join APRT Sacco through M-Pesa by sending money to till number 666741. APRT Sacco. Enjoy the power of many.
This is a type of car that every petrolhead would love to drive. So today what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take you through this car and do a review, show you what makes it unique.
Kalombo on the beat. The youths. My youths. Let's do this. Kama kawa kama tawa.
Bully man, kwenga boy.
Go one, point up. So kama takupenda kidogo. So kama takujali kidogo.
Itakuwa mwafaya.
So kind of me. So kind of me.
Welcome back. Let us now update you on what is happening globally. A British government report suggests that people from Black, Asian or minority ethnic backgrounds are up to 50% more likely to die after being infected with COVID-19 compared to whites. As Henry Ridgwell reports from London, scientists say it is too early to tell what is behind the higher death rate.
The report from government agency Public Health England suggests people of Bangladeshi origin are most vulnerable, with twice the risk of death from COVID-19 than whites from Britain. Those who are of Chinese, Indian, Pakistani or other Asian ethnicity, as well as Caribbean or other black ethnicity, had between a 10% to 50% higher risk of death.
There is much more work to do to understand what's driving these disparities and how the different risk factors interact. And we are absolutely determined to get to the bottom of this and find ways of closing that gap.
The findings of the report, published earlier this month, support similar studies in the United States and Finland.
This is a worldwide observation. It's not an observation unique to the UK. The United States, they're seeing more BAME people being affected by this disease. So there is a suggestion, and I have to be very explicit, a suggestion that BAME individuals may have a genetic predisposition that makes them more susceptible to the disease.
Other scientists believe the causes are rooted in societal inequality and cultural differences.
Social status, the way people are being congested in multi-generational occupancies, and the overall exposure BME group has in the community.
Amir Awan, who is of Pakistani origin, lost his father to COVID-19. He suspects cultural practices are to blame for higher death rates.
Sometimes you have brothers and sisters all living in 3-4 houses next door to each other, and they're just probably very oblivious to the fact that this thing is so serious, but they didn't take much notice of that. They were literally going into each other's houses. I know the fact that when the government closed down mosques, for example, but the inside in the community, some people inviting people into their houses and let's do the Friday prayers here.
Ethnic minorities may also be concentrated in certain high-risk occupations to contract COVID, such as in the medical field.
For example, 13% of the UK population is BAME. It is more than 44% of the NHS doctors, those are from BAME groups. So we can still identify that the Pakistani, Bangladeshi origin, they are more exposed and having more severe impact than the Chinese and the Indians have. So that also highlights that the genetics is probably not the major difference.
That suggestion comes at a tense time, with Black Lives Matter protests erupting in the United States, Britain and around the world. Scientists say there needs to be much more investigation, and it's too early to pinpoint what is to blame.
Away from that, recent deaths of African Americans after encounters with the law enforcement have reignited debate over the role of policing in the United States. As demonstrations across the United States continue for that week, calls have mounted among protesters to defund the police, with the word defund creating confusion. VOA's Jesusem One looks at what that means.
Outraged over the death of George Floyd and other Black Americans during police encounters, a growing number of protesters are calling for dismantling the current system of policing in the United States.
The police receives billions and billions of dollars in order to brutalize minority communities, specifically Black communities, which is completely unjust. It is oppression, it is racism in its finest.
With defund the police becoming a rallying cry, there's growing debate over what that might mean. The dictionary definition of the word is to withdraw funding from. But advocates say, though, it's not about eliminating police departments, but instead diverting funds away from what they consider a militarized force, long accused of racism.
It means making sure that the resources that we put into the police that could be better spent on public health and social workers and public services that our communities desperately need are getting those funds, as opposed to just going to the police, which are driven primarily in a lot of ways by violence.
But not all protesters agree with the broad slogan.
We can weed out the bad and keep and bring in the good, then I prefer that. I want to be able, if I need them, to call them.
Still, the movement is gaining steam. Los Angeles and New York officials have promised to cut their police budget, and the city council in Minneapolis, where Floyd died, has vowed to disband their police department.
Our commitment is to end our city's toxic relationship with the Minneapolis Police Department, to end policing as we know it.
It has been done before. Advocates point to Camden, New Jersey, for years considered one of the deadliest cities in the U.S., disbanded and rebuilt their entire police department in 2013. Violent crime rates declined significantly since. Such a major reform just requires a bold reimagining of the status quo, says Professor Justin Hansford.
The thing with segregation, some people thought, wait, this is our way of life. Isn't it better if we're separate? You know, we've been like this for decades, but we were able to fight against segregation. And similarly, I think today with policing, the idea of abolishing it encourages us to think about replacing it with a better system.
But opponents to defunding say a one-size-fits-all approach to police reform is a bad idea.
If leadership has failed, management has failed,
culturally the department hasn't properly served its residents, then yes, it should be revamped or restructured. But to just simply say, we're going to dismantle, then what's your plan? And not all police departments are created the same. You can't just do a broad brush.
With lawmakers watching as demands to restructure policing in America intensify, the movement is likely to be a hot-button issue in an already polarized election year.
With COVID-19 related unemployment in the millions in the United States, the number of people who can't afford basic daily necessities is rising. In Fairfax County, Virginia, a two-day charity event brought together members of the community to donate food for the needy in the area. VOA's Zela Nouri has more in this report.
Twice a year, Fairfax County puts out a call for donations to fill the food pantries of local nonprofits as part of the Stuff the Bus food drive. The buses park in different locations to collect any sort of food donations.
I think this is a great idea. This is not an easy time, and we need to help each other.
This is amazing to see all of these groceries going out to so many people that need it. And
especially pulling around this corner and just seeing how many people have already donated is really inspiring.
Because of the coronavirus pandemic, demand for food is at an all-time high from people who have lost their jobs and are needy. Recipients appreciate the efforts.
They give canned foods, fresh vegetables, fruit, cereal, sometimes like cookie boxes, stuff like that. And you can come once a week. And then the last Saturday of every month, they do fresh veggies. You get as much food as how many people are in your family.
For 9 years, the Stuff the Bus food drive have served as a biannual effort to provide food for nonprofit groups to distribute. This year, the donations will benefit 10 nonprofits in Fairfax County.
A lot of people have lost their jobs, and people got to eat. So those of us that have not lost our jobs, it seems like the right thing to do.
Fairfax County is one of the wealthiest in the nation, a testament to the far-reaching impact of this virus that unemployment and food shortages are felt here as well.
We're taking a short break, but once we return, we'll be telling you more on what is happening in the world of sports. Stay tuned. Now, on what is happening in the world of sport is that Jacob in Brixton won 2000 in a new format of the Bislett Games, the Impossible Games, setting also a new European record and beating Timothy Cheruiyot and the other Kenyans who were playing in a huge disadvantage as they ran at 1800 meters of altitude and really bad weather condition. Jacob in Brixton led the pack, recording a time of 4 hours, 50 minutes and 1 second, followed by Henrik, who recorded 4 hours, 53 minutes and 72 second flip. In Brixton came in third in 4 hours, 56 minutes and 91 seconds. Team Kenya recorded a title over 5 minutes, with Timothy Cheruiyot recording 5 hours, 3 minutes and 5 seconds, followed by counterparts 2015 World 1500 meter champion Elijah Manangoe. Kenya will be back in continental basketball action in October following the announcement of fresh dates for the AfroBasket qualifiers. With the season shelled in March due to the fears over the spreading coronavirus, action now resumes in October, at least on the continental front. But Kenya men's and women's team will be in action in November, where they'll feature in the AfroBasket qualifiers, whose venue and exact dates will be announced later. International Basketball Federation Africa Zone 5 Secretary Vitalis Godes said a virtual meeting of FIBA Africa agreed to resume play in October, but he was quick to point that the hosting and participation at the tournaments will depend on the individual countries' policies. Kenya Open Golf Limited will give financial aid to members of the 2019-2020 Safari Tour season. This move is aimed at helping the professional golfers to meet some of their financial commitments during this time when it is not possible to play golf due to the restrictions that are in place to stop the spread of the dreaded COVID-19. The 54 Safari Tour members, who are made of 9 Kenyans, 10 Ugandans, 2 Nigerians, and 1 each from Senegal, Rwanda, and Zimbabwe, participated in 11 tournaments that were played from August 2019 and February 2020. 7 out of the 11 tournaments were played in Kenya, while 4 were played in Uganda. That's all we had for you for KUTV News at 9. Many thanks indeed for keeping us company and staying tuned to KUTV News at 9. I'm happy that the weekend is here. I'm hoping that you're happy too, but be it as it may, I do wish you all the best in all the good things you do during the weekend. I've been your anchor, Irene Mwangi, and our sign language interpreter is Moses Gitonga. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive. Enjoy the rest of your evening.